In today's episode, I'm telling you a case of a woman who escaped her kidnapper after months of torture. Welcome, lambs. Welcome, everyone, to Love and Murder. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kai, and I invite you to go ahead and listen to this episode in its entirety, and if you like it, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more cases. If you're a returning lamb, thank you so much for the ongoing support. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. If you want to be a sponsor of Love and Murder, and in exchange you get bonus episodes, games, case extras, and so much more, then go ahead and join our Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. We actually have a November sale going on right now where you can get all the bonuses, all the extras for half off, which is only $5 a month. So go ahead and take advantage of that sale. It ends at the end of November. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Choose the November sale tier. But without further ado, let's get into your Florida Man Friday episode. So this happened in the Tampa Bay, Florida area and started in January 2024. A woman was panhandling near Hillsborough and Habana Avenue in Tampa Bay. It was during this time that she encountered a man named Walter Medina, who was a 48-year-old man who had a criminal history. Initially, Walter presented himself as somebody who was, beneficial to her. I'll take care of you. You don't have to live out here anymore. And he offered the woman food and drugs. I mean, as you do, you see a homeless person and you offer them drugs. Like, really? And so she came with him thinking that she had a roof over her head, food in her belly, and I guess drugs in her pipe. I don't know. But soon Walter's, quote, actions turned violent as he subjected her to months of relentless physical abuse and captivity. He repeatedly assaulted her using a wooden baseball bat and flathead screwdrivers, giving her broken ribs, deep puncture wounds, and extensive bruises. Quote, over the course of approximately 2.5 months, the victim endured unimaginable suffering at the hands of Medina as he forcibly transported her around the Tampa Bay area and threatened to kill her if she fled or sought help. This ordeal, as prolonged as it was, 2.5 months, prosecutors think that it led to the development of potential trauma bonds. That's a kind of Stockholm syndrome that victims might develop, which is developing positive feelings towards their captor as a survival mechanism. So they're saying this might have happened to the victim. So a bit about Walter. He had a criminal history past and had actually served time in prison for a false imprisonment case in 1999. So basically it sounds like he did this before. His arrest record includes charges of kidnapping, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, and robbery. How was he out? Kidnapping, assaulting a law enforcement officer, and burglary? Like, how was he out? So, on April 1st, 2024, the victim seized an opportunity to escape when Walter briefly left her unattended at a Walgreens. I could just see it in my head. He turned his head or went around the corner for a second and she sprinted to that door. I could just see it in my head. So she ran to a nearby mobile gas station in Scheffner where an employee noticed that she was in distress and called 911. Deputies from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office responded to the call and noted that the victim had numerous injuries to her face and her body. They took her to a local hospital for medical treatment. Sheriff Chad Cronister said that the victim was very brave, quote, I can't imagine the torture this victim endured for months, but I can imagine the relief she felt when our deputies arrived. The next day, April 2nd, police spotted Walter in Polk County and a car chase started, of course, because he can't just turn himself in. The chase involved the Florida Highway Patrol, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and Lakeland Police Department. The chase ended up reaching speeds of over 100 miles per hour on I-4. Police reported that he drove recklessly, it's a police chase, endangering other motorists by weaving through traffic and using emergency shoulders. Yeah, it's a police chase. Despite multiple attempts to try to immobilize him, they could not stop him. Finally, Walter almost crashed into another car after he ran a red light, but instead he crashed into a raised median. Then, when police surrounded the car, he refused to get out of the car. So police sent K-9 unit Rico to get him. Rico, fetch. And Rico went and did his job. Walter faces multiple charges, including attempted second-degree murder, armed kidnapping, armed false imprisonment, aggravated battery with great bodily harm, tampering with a witness, and tampering with physical evidence. I'm sorry, that chuckle I had earlier wasn't to his charges. It was to me imagining Rico getting him out of the car. So that is all the charges that Walter has against him, which apparently he did this before. I don't know why he was out. Okay, so you did this before. False imprisonment. That could actually mean anything. I know somebody who had a potential charge of false imprisonment because they were trying to keep somebody in the house, but it was for the person's own good. Like, it wasn't a malicious thing. I think I told you all about this a long time ago. But the person had mental health issues and they didn't want the person running out into the street and, getting lost, harming themselves, harming somebody else. So they were trying to keep the person in the house. And police said that was false imprisonment. So false imprisonment could mean anything. With Walter, I believe that he kidnapped somebody and kept them against their will. So you had that charge. He went to prison for that. He got out of prison. He assaulted a police officer. He went to prison for that. They said, you served enough time. Got out of prison. Went to prison again for robbery charge. And it's like, come on. He's not being rehabilitated. And then he got out and then did this. Obviously, he's not being rehabilitated. So are you going to let him out again? Are you going to give him a bond this time? What is going on? So the case is still ongoing because this just happened this year as of this recording. So we don't know what he's going to be charged with. And being that this is such a short case, meaning the report that came out, more than likely in my experience, I'm probably not going to find out what happens to him anyway, what he went to prison for. How much time he got in prison. But what do y'all think about this case? Do you think he should have even been out, given all his previous charges? Should he have even been out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking of comments, let's go through your comments from the past Florida Man Fridays. This one is for the case of Chester Spade. If you missed that, link is in the show notes below. You can go ahead and re-listen to that episode. Christina Bobo said, what in the hillbilly hills have eyes honky tonk do we have here? Absolutely friggin' crazy. But I guess truth is stranger than fiction, right? Every time I thought it couldn't get any worse, it absolutely did. Anal SA of a 3-year-old should be automatic by electrocution. The fact that that poor baby was not only violated this way, but beaten so violently breaks my heart. I wonder if Holly stayed, considering it took 10 years to try and convict this sorry excuse of a human being. I hope his bunkie finds out and that he never gets a sound sleep at night. Lastly, killing someone for $100 should be considered a mental health disorder, because was that even enough to get high? The mom taking the money from the victim should have added 50 years to her sentence. Yeah, Christina, that case was just... I don't even want to think about half of that case, but yeah, that case was crazy. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to think about that case past this. So if you haven't listened to the case of Chester Spade, the link is in the show notes below. And the last set of comments that I have for you come from the case of Lauren K. Cole. Again, link to that episode is in the show notes below. I asked, do you believe Lauren's past should have been considered in his sentencing? And Christina Bobo said, I don't think that victims of childhood trauma should be given a free pass, but I do think that their past should be taken into consideration during trial. Lauren was abused well before he ever ended up at that facility, which, while it may seem like a mere 6 months to us, it may have felt like a lifetime for him and the others who were tragically left in the care of the monsters. Yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't saying, oh, it's only 6 months. I was saying, this is their excuse, saying that he was turned into this, but what about the children who were there longer? They didn't turn to murdering people. That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying, well, it was only 6 months. No, it could have been 1 second. That's still horrible. She continues to say, I mean, 2 broken legs for trying to run away? Yikes. I think that he could have been spared death at least. Also, I wonder if there were metrics for how many survivors went on to become criminals versus those who now lead productive lives. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's true. She continues, the state threw some money at them as if that would erase the abuse that they endured or witnessed, as if that was the end-all be-all. What kind of support was offered to help them cope with their trauma? Some people commit crimes and don't get caught. So we really don't know those people are doing now to say, oh, well, nobody else became crazed rapists and killers. Which, again, that's true too, but I'm pretty sure more would have come out. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have just been Lauren. If it was that many people that ended up doing this, it wouldn't have just been Lauren. You know what I'm saying? They would have at least said 2, 3, 4 more people. That's what I'm saying. Not all of these people wouldn't have been kept under the radar. And Lauren was the only one who got caught. Christina continues, oh, well, no one else became a crazed rapist and killer and used that as a reason to not just have a teeny weeny, and I mean smaller than minute, amount of compassion for the one who went on to commit such a terrible crime. As far as his accomplice, what was his excuse? How did he go from being a good kid in school to going along with rape and murder? Then leaving her tied up in the wilderness? The fact that she survived those 2 days is wow. I can't imagine the fear and worry that was on her mind. Then to discover that her brother was gone. Ugh. I have 4 brothers and I don't know how I'd go on after such a tragedy. I mean, Christina, you are welcome to your opinions, obviously, but I don't have a teeny weeny, even less than a minute amount of compassion for him. Nothing. No. I am sorry of what happened in his past, but the way that he decided to deal with it, no compassion for that. And again, I'm used to people telling me that I'm hard, I'm wrong, and blah, blah, blah. I understand you are completely able to have your own opinions on that, just like I'm able to have my own opinions. And then what I responded to Christina was, which I just said, I don't have a teeny weeny amount of compassion for the decision that he made. Just because horrors were committed to you doesn't take away your sense from right or wrong. If he didn't think it was wrong, he would have never hidden it. Have you ever hidden things that you didn't think was a problem? He knew what he was doing. I have no compassion. People can call me cold-blooded if they want. That's what I responded to her. And that was the last comment. Let me know what you think about those past episodes. Go back and listen to them. And also let me know your thoughts on this episode that I just gave. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget about our Patreon sale that we have going on. $5 a month just gets you everything, but that sale ends at the end of November, so you don't want to miss it. Patreon.com/love and murder. Also, a free and easy way to help me out is just by sharing this episode. So go ahead and share this episode in your text messages or your WhatsApp with your friends and family. And then head on over to one of our social medias like Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. Take one of the clips there and share it to your social media. Then you would have completed sharing it with everyone you know and everyone you don't. And that is all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.